Really? Is that real?
Hi, I'm Tasha Jones. I'm a mother of 4 who lives here in Columbus. I work 2 jobs, and I'm also a poll worker on election day. And I've been doing that for almost 9.5 years. I know the difference between a dysfunctional election system like the one we had in 2004 and a well-planned out election system as we had in 2008. Secretary of State John Husted is trying to take us back to 2004 when his mentor J. Kenneth Blackwell was in charge. We had long lines, people left the polls without even voting. There was a lot of chaos for absolutely no reason at all. That's a crime against voters. In 2008, it was a completely different experience. We had opportunities to vote early. We voted on the weekends and in the evenings. We had the chance to vote in the last 3 days before Election Day, and during that time, 93,000 Ohioans took advantage of that opportunity, just in those 3 days alone. I went to church on the last Sunday before Election Day, and then joined some of my fellow parishioners and went to the voting booth. This was one of the proudest and most joyous days of my life. Voting should be simple and convenient. This is not too much to ask for from our democracy. We've seen what works in Ohio, and we know what doesn't. We should be allowed to vote in person early. I have to vote early. I'm an election poll worker. I can't vote on Election Day, and I would prefer to vote in person as opposed to a paper ballot. I want to be able to vote on the weekend. Secretary of State Husted has yet to explain why they are going back to, where they're trying to go back to those ways that didn't work. There's absolutely no reason why we should deal with the chaos that we dealt with in '04. I'm here today to state I've had enough. I will vote this year. I will continue getting my friends, my family, my neighbors, and my co-workers to also vote. We would like to vote early this year. I'm going to vote yes on issue 2 because I've had enough of politicians who work for themselves and not for us. I'm a voter, I've had enough, and I will say yes on issue 2.
Good morning. My name is Deidra Reese, and I'm the coordinator for the Ohio Unity Coalition. The Unity Coalition's goal is to engage voters in minority and underserved communities. We register voters, we mobilize them, and we protect voters' rights. We're diverse, we're grassroots, and we're not going to stand by idly while politicians like John Husted try, and I say try, to trample on voter rights. Understand one thing, John Husted's job is to run smooth elections and fair elections. Today, Secretary of State John Husted is getting his job performance report card, and I think we need to have a parent-teacher conference if we want him to actually pass. We need an intervention right now. In Cincinnati, Secretary of State Husted was sued for playing games with provisional ballots. He was fighting an order to stop needlessly throwing out provisional ballots, and that was one decision that he decided to break a tie vote on. In Dayton, Secretary Husted was sued for wrongful termination. The federal judge is going to rule on October 23rd, and we know it's wrong to fire 2 public servants for wanting to extend voting hours to weekends for voters that work a regular first shift. We think they need to have additional opportunities. So our grade on that, like in Cincinnati, is an F. In Columbus, Secretary Husted was sued for locking voting booths on the final 3 days before Election Day. When he tried to ignore Judge Economist's order, the judge actually ordered him to appear in his court to explain himself. He wisely backed down, even though he did not back down from firing 2 other public officials. His grade is an F. As Husted heads the Ohio Ballot Board, he purposefully and willfully misled voters about issue 2, and we've seen the evidence. He left out the part where the citizens would be in charge. It was so bad that the Republican-dominated Ohio Supreme Court ruled against him. Our grade on that, once again, an F. The Republican-dominated Supreme Court ordered Husted to try again on issue 2. In other words, they rejected his first homework and gave him a chance for makeup. Well, he failed again to make the issue clear and understandable to voters. Once again, he's received an F. That's 5 Fs for a failing Husted. And now we've had enough of Husted. Voters First and the Ohio Unity Coalition, like millions of voters in this state, have had enough. We're going to vote yes on issue 2 to put citizens in charge and send a message to Husted and any other politician who wants to try, and again I say try, to trample on our voting rights. Secretary Husted has failed us. He's failed the voters. That's why we're going to vote yes on issue 2.